When it comes to this crazy world of ours, it's very rare these days that we do anything one at a time or have the ability to just sit in silence. But the thing is that all of this noise, all of these screens that we have at our disposal, they are bombarding our systems with sound and flashing lights that we don't realize just how much they're affecting our system. And when I started noticing this in the world in general and for myself, I started to notice what doing the opposite did for me. And that got me thinking, why do we do this? Why do we constantly feel the need to be multitasking and bombarded with all these noises and sounds, or noises and lights? And I realized there are two main reasons. The first one I want to talk about is productivity and busyness. At some point in my lifetime, we raised the bar on productivity from being able to do one thing at a time to having to do multiple things at a time. So in this day and age, now we have people who will complain because their friends or their family members can't set the phone down because they still constantly feel like they have to be working 24/7. Or another example of this would be that, for instance, for myself, when I would be working at home or at work, I constantly feel like I needed something else on, whether that be music or a television show or whatever it might be. I also couldn't just be doing one thing at a time. I had to be working on writing something while listening to an audiobook because I constantly felt like I needed to be doing multiple things at once, even if one of those things wasn't even technically productive, because I was just so used to the bombardment that it became a habit to make it happen. Which brings me to my second point, which is that we have gotten so used to this bombardment. We're so used to not having to sit in silence that we're not used to being in that silence with our thoughts anymore. We're used to numbing the mind, ignoring the mind, so much so that we're not used to being able to quiet our mind enough to do one thing at a time or just rest, that even when it comes to things like going to bed, you'll have the TV on until you absolutely get so tired that you have to turn it off because you have to have a distraction from just being quiet with your mind, because otherwise you'd have to listen to what your mind has to say. And it's funny because so many people think that the point and purpose of meditation is to quiet the mind. But the thing is when it comes to meditation, the first point and purpose is learning how to be quiet with your mind, because you can't learn to quiet your mind until you learn how to sit in silence with it. So I want to invite everybody to start noticing how, like I did, you're doing these things in your life. Are you unable to set the work down? Are you constantly feeling like, whether it's work or not, you constantly have to be productive? If you're watching TV, you also have to be doing the dishes because something has to be done all the time. Or are you the kind of person who is so afraid to be with your thoughts that you're just constantly finding something to distract yourself from doing so? And then start asking yourself why. Why am I doing this? Why can't I be alone with my thoughts? What am I afraid of is in there? And could I, in fact, if I started to learn how to be alone with my thoughts, get those thoughts to go away? I can definitely tell you, at the very least, that in my experience, when I started to be able to do one at a time, when I started to be able to do things one at a time, thoughtfully with intention while being in the present moment, not only did the product of what I was doing become better, but I became better because I was no longer being bombarded by many things at once. And I became healthier and happier because my system started down-regulating more and more all the time. I no longer had all that stress and that bombardment of stuff that not only was I less stressed and tired as I was doing things, but I actually got more rest when I was resting because my system had time to downregulate. All right, guys, thank you for joining me for another video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. YouTube tells me I still need more subscribers to get my custom URL, so here I am reminding you to subscribe. There are the links in the description. Don't forget to check those out. There's Patreon, where I get even deeper into spiritual and practical solutions to making life kinder and simpler, as I say. I've got my intuitive lifestyle course, which is the basis of what I do with my one-on-one clients. There's my spirituality 101 series. I'm just starting to get into the spirituality 2.0 series, where we're going to start studying A Course in Miracles, amongst other things. I have my mailing list down in those links. If you're not already a part of my mailing list, I do 1 email a month. That's it, with just the updates of the month, including my free workshops and meditations that are going to be happening throughout the month. And then last but not least, the last link in there that I haven't talked about yet is my link to filling out my JOT form for my free clarity call, which is how you sign up for working with me one-on-one. If there's one thing I realized in my life ages ago, it was that my point and purpose in life is to help teach people the tools, skills, and habits that I learned at an early age. Because we don't have to crash and burn to learn life lessons. We can learn these tools, skills, and habits before we need them. Not only after, and after some pain. So if you're ready to grow, expand, and heal, I want to help you do that. I want to help you learn the tools, skills, and habits I learned to make life a little kinder and simpler, so that when it comes to all the things in life, you can be prepared for them ahead of time, rather than having to crash and burn every time. May the energy you serve you well, and let's keep making our way through.